welcome everybody here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. My name is Andrew Valentin, and I hope you're all having a wonderful Wednesday. We are, of course, coming to you live here from the Illinois Media School here in Lombard, Illinois. Again, wherever it is for you, ladies and gentlemen, Darren, I hope it is just right. And, of course, I have with me the impeccable, the so masculine, muscular, and ever so wonderfully mesmerizing Mr. Drew Gwillem. Drew, how you doing, man?
Mesmerized.
Yeah.
I
had to find a new word.
I'm beat. I'm tired.
I bet.
It's been a long week already.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Absolutely.
Sports.
We're here. We got sports, and it's your favorite. It's football, man.
Football good.
Football good. Yeah.
Baseball bad. To bring back
yeah.
a little something from the past.
Absolutely. Well, and especially now, baseball is coming to an end. So
thank God.
At this point, I kind of am glad.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that tomorrow. We got baseball talk for tomorrow, but fret not. It's only going to be partially about some good stuff, I would say, for the most part. But Drew,
can only hope.
Oh, only hope. We can only hope that it doesn't get too more messed up. But Drew, are you ready to do this, man, with all this football talk?
Let's do football.
Let's do football then, folks.
Because football good.
Football good.
Yeah.
Well, folks, obviously we got to talk.
Say I'm tired, right?
Yeah, you did. You definitely did.
All
it's
right.
you know what? If we see you knocked out,
slap happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I get that.
Okay.
Well, look, we got to talk about them. The Bears, ladies and gentlemen. They looked like they had a shot, and then it quickly kind of went away. It was a 20-12 loss for the Bears.
And in more important news, Blake Bortles retires from the NFL.
And Cole Beasley. They are both gone. I was really debating actually how much I wanted to even put this in as the story for the day, just because. But I put it in simply because it is the Bears, and there were some things in this game that I think is worthy of discussion. So obviously, Saquon has himself a nice little game. It was very hard to stop him. It's funny though that it was Jones that got the 2 rushing touchdowns. Nevertheless,
right? Because they kept running the same play over and over and over and over again.
Yeah,
and they didn't make adjustments. They're like, you can make adjustments in like after the first play of the game is run.
Yes,
and you can make adjustments from there. You don't have to wait until halftime.
No, absolutely not. You can actually make them on the fly. But
yeah,
Drew, before we really get into the meat and bones of this thing, I mean, what did you think about the game as an overall? It's certainly a hard loss. You would think they should be able to beat the Giants, but what were your thoughts?
Hideous, horrendous, ugly, terrible. It was a crap game.
You're describing a lot of what I think people were feeling after this one.
Yeah. Probably use stronger words, but
I was gonna say there's certainly others that could come about.
We'll avoid those.
Sure.
While we're live.
Absolutely.
We'll speak those words in back later, maybe.
That sounds
good. But yeah, it was bad all the way around.
Yeah.
You are supposed to be right on the same level as this team, and you couldn't stop anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they ran the same play over and over and over again out there. Daniel Jones booting to the outside, and just nobody was on him. Nobody was looking for him.
Mm-hmm.
He was free to run and roam around as he pleased.
Yeah. It was certainly like you said, an ugly game. There's many other words that we could certainly use to describe this game, but
hot garbage.
Hot garbage is another one. It was a game that certainly felt on paper. I think we even said this could be one of the games that they could easily win, but obviously this Bears team does not make anything easy, and it's hard to pick a guy that I could even have. I think the guy I could have maybe championed in this game was Bagley, the kicker they had brought in. Just coming in for not even having a few days really to even kick with this team. And he went 4 for 4. He hit every field goal. He was the only guy that put up points in this game, and he was really what kept the Bears alive the entire time. It's such a shame that now after that's gone to waste, essentially, they cut him, and now he goes to the Lions where he'll probably have an amazing season, I'm sure. But overall, I mean, let's get into this. Obviously, Justin Fields, he had what, in comparison to the first 3 games, was certainly an, I guess, improvement. 11 for 22, closer to 200 yards than he has been in the past 3 games, but no touchdowns. He ran the ball decently. The problem, obviously, was that He was sacked again 6 times. He seemed to be running for his life. And once again, we were seeing flaws in his passing attack.
I believe he was pressured on like 52% of his dropbacks.
Yes, something of that nature.
That's bad.
Yes.
That's really bad.
That's not good at all. He has, I believe, one of the worst quarterback ratings when under pressure of
He has yet to throw for 200 yards.
Yes.
200.
Yes.
The over-under, I believe, on his yardage was 145, which I think they were saying was pretty close to the lowest ever.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He has also not eclipsed 60%. He hasn't actually eclipsed, I think, 56% completion percentage at this point, and let alone 60. So, but obviously, it's a bit of an improvement over last year. But I ask you this, do you call this, from what we saw here against the Giants, do you see this as growth and improvement in his game, or do you simply look at this as maybe just like a moment against a weaker team? I only ask that because it seems to be the decisive factor between a lot of people's discussion with Justin Fields in this game.
I mean, maybe some. He made a couple very nice throws.
Yes.
Out of his 11 completions, there was a few very nice throws in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were some bad ones. And guess what? The sacks aren't all on the offensive line.
Yes.
All the time. Don't get me wrong, a lot of them are because the offensive line is not good.
Right.
Very bad. But some of these sacks are on Fields as well. He needs to work through his progressions faster, find the open man. If nobody's there, go.
Yes.
Run. Because you have that ability.
Right.
You can't just he can't hold on to the ball as much as he has at times.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhat of an improvement just to be able to see some more throws downfield.
Yeah.
And completing some of them and having some nice throws comparatively to 8 completions the week before. And it didn't look good either.
Yeah.
But it's tough when, again, it's almost like he's been dealt a losing hand from the start. Last year to this year. I mean, it's with coaching and play calling last year and now void of talent on the team and first time coaches in their positions.
Right.
And you're seeing those growing pains. I like to see the improvement from the coaching from last week to this week, learning from their halftime, right before halftime woes and not trying to go for it when you're saying you're trying to win games. Well, that's a good learning time for a young quarterback to go for the 2-minute drill and that for that opportunity. They kind of did that a little there. They tried to do that this week.
Yeah.
It was very ugly again, as
Yes.
usual, but at least they went for it.
Yeah.
Fields, it's tough. Not a lot of weapons, not a good offensive line. I don't know what more it's going to take to get more production out of him.
Yeah. I mean, it isn't just on the offensive line. I was on we did blow the whistle on Tuesday, and if you guys listened on the radio side, I talked about I think they have to kind of curve away a little bit more from the play action rollouts because it seems like when he does the play action rollout, all of a sudden he gets a little bit of happy feet. He decides he wants to keep rolling out and rolling out, rolling out. Well, yeah, the protection may not always be there, but at the same time, when you keep moving out of the pocket, you are creating an opportunity for one of the defenders to get loose, take a different angle, and potentially go after you. And that suddenly changes the play. That suddenly means the receivers can't run the same routes. The offensive line has to take a different, angle on blocking. They have to try and, focus everything towards where you're at. So it changes the entirety of the game. And I think for Fields, look, I will say I think this is an improvement, but I don't know if you can call this necessarily growth because I feel like you should have beat this team. This is a team that you should have put up bigger numbers on. The Giants are not that good. Let's be honest. They're not that good a team. So I think what we should have seen more from Fields, and look, the Bears should be focused on winning the game, but they also need to see progression out of their quarterback. But this is one of those games where it's like, he should have put up 250 passing yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Their Giants corners are terrible.
Yeah, they know James. It would be different if James Bradbury was still there because, that's a guy that can clearly take on Darnell Mooney and take him out of the game. But he's not there anymore. They cut him. They let him go. Their best corner, Aaron Robinson, who I believe is a first-year pro or rookie, he's injured. So you can't even make that argument that they had good corners out there. it doesn't, to me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to say that this was growth. This was just a nice moment, an improvement, but it's not exactly growth until you see him do this, I would say, against a better team. You don't even have to win the game. It's just throw for 300 yards, throw for 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 60 plus. I know that's putting a number on things, but just to see those numbers happen against like a team like Buffalo or Baltimore, I know that's hard to say, but if you can see that kind of stuff, that's showing improvement. Against the Giants, those numbers should be there regardless. They're a weak team. But like you said, though, Drew, obviously the receiving core, offensive line, they're very bad. But focusing on the receiving core, Mooney had himself a decent game, 4 catches for 94 yards. The rest of the receiving core obviously came up very short on this one. And there's an understanding, of course, that there is a lack of talent. But we've kind of talked about this. I've said this a lot, that it feels like if they're going to be better, Fields certainly needs to sort of pick up the slack, right? He needs to be a franchise quarterback. I feel like you have to sometimes overcome your lack of weapons. And I ask you, Drew, for Justin Fields' sake, do you think that he has the ability to overcome these lack of weapons, or is this going to be a situation where potentially they're going to need to find those next guys in to help him get better?
Well, I think it always helps when you have top-of-the-line talent.
Right.
I think it makes it a lot easier when you see big-time wide receivers get separation compared to Equanimous St. Brown and Byron Pringle and players like of that caliber trying to get separation on any corner, really.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't do it against the Giants, and they're awful.
Yes.
Not all of it's on them. Yes, there have been times where Fields has completely missed and not thrown to wide open wide receivers.
Yeah.
So there are times that they are getting open and he's missing them. Then a lot of time they're just not getting enough separation to get open.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you see that with the lack of talent there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's, again, this is a rebuild. It's rebuilt. It's a rebuilding franchise. They have a lot of work to do with all the cap space they're going to have. They're going to have a high pick next year.
Yeah.
You just watch them play football.
At this point, I think they were slotted at like 8 or something like that now.
They're going to be higher than
Probably
that.
higher than
They're
that.
going to be higher than
yes.
that. I just don't see a scenario where this team goes on a run and wins enough games to be anywhere around there.
Well, I mean, our guy TJ had mentioned that we were going over the schedule, and I believe he said there was a lot of moments where it feels like they could certainly fall, to quote our man TJ, ass backwards into some wins there and end up going 8-9, if I remember that correctly. So
they very well could.
And that's it's weird because, yes, I would like to see them win, but at the same time, you'd like to see them lose to get higher pick.
Okay. Good example.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, speaking of Rodgers and the Packers,
yes.
You look at the New England Patriots lose their backup quarterback who was starting for them last week.
Yes.
And Bailey Zappi comes into the game, a rookie, third-string quarterback, and guess what? They take the Packers to overtime and almost win.
Yeah.
Justin Fields was picked number 11 overall.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I agree. I mean, well, and we talked about this, right? Like, how much was he really wanted by the teams at the end of the day? Because you look at that list of quarterbacks in that draft, right? And when it came out, 2021, outside of Trevor Lawrence, everybody else kind of felt like, well, they didn't do as much as Justin did at Ohio State. And yet you have the Jets that said, well, we like Zach Wilson maybe more than him. And then you had the 49ers who clearly said we like Trey Lance more than him. And it even feels like the Patriots probably were like, well, if Mac Jones is there over Justin Fields, we still might go with Mac Jones no matter what. So he might have even been there at 20. Who knows? I mean, and that really makes me angry personally. It's just another wasted draft pick of trading up. But nevertheless, obviously you went up, you got him, you wanted him enough, but you have to wonder, like, how much of the other teams really believe that he could be the guy.
I'm not giving up on him.
No, absolutely.
I think there is still plenty of room for him to grow and get better. And I think with more talent they could bring in to put around him, an offensive line who can block for long enough for him, a little bit longer, do some better things, not let him get put on his ass constantly,
yes,
then I think with some more help, you'll see him start to develop a little more. So I don't think they should give up on him. I don't think they should use their high draft pick to take another quarterback in the first round next year either.
Yeah.
So I'm still hopeful, and I'm not giving up yet.
No, I mean, look, I think we've all talked about this a lot. It's that this is an evaluation period. I think we've all said that at this point. It's really about trying to figure out what you have in front of you. Clearly, you don't have a lot, but it's a matter of figuring out who's going to stay and who's going to go. I am personally on the mindset at this point that guys like Roquan, Robert Quinn, and David Montgomery, I think, are the guys that you could easily trade away, get whatever draft picks you can, and kind of load your draft up with whatever draft stock you have. I think you've said it more than anybody at this point. You have a top draft pick, but you see teams out there with multiple first-rounders. You trade out of that top pick, get multiple first-round picks, and you load this team up with young players to pair up with Justin Fields, protect him, weapons, whatever the case is, help maybe a little bit on the defense. Who knows? Depends on what you can get. It is all going to land on what happens next year when you have all that cap money, when you have all that, all your draft picks are back. Justin has one actual year under one offense, not switching from one to the other. Like, has happened multiple times now with these quarterbacks in Chicago.
And you know what? I'm not even going to use that as a big excuse. It seems like that's been the way for the Bears since
a long time.
Cutler.
Yeah, it really.
Cutler.
Yes.
How many offensive coordinators did Cutler go through?
God, it must have been
far
like
too
3
many.
or 4.
And then you get Mitch in here, and how many he went through couple.
John Fox to Matt Nagy, and then they had
how many offensive coordinators or play callers did he have just throughout Matt Nagy's tenure?
Like 3 or 4, yeah.
And by the way, Mitch, you're terrible. We knew it. Kenny Pickett just took your job. There's another one.
I called that one.
But
I'm telling you.
Again, you get to Justin Fields, and he's doing the same thing. Goes from Matt Nagy now to the new coaching staff, and it's just like, we need some kind of consistency.
That was my biggest thing, is that if you were going to draft Justin Fields, I know Ryan Pace did it to save his job. I know that's the reason why. Let's be honest. That's most likely the reason why you drafted him.
Every move they made that year was to try and save their jobs.
But that's when you should fire Nagy, bring in a new coach, and even still,
they were 1 year too late on that.
Yeah, exactly.
They were a few years too late on that.
They were a few. But that's where Ryan Pace hitched his wagon to Matt Nagy and said, "Well, if he's going down, I'm going down with him." Okay, that's fine. But then he really, I think, he did the whole Bears thing again. He did it with Mitch. He drafted him when he got John Fox. Should have fired Fox, hired Nagy or whoever, and then consult with that coach and figure out who your quarterback is. Because Nagy said, like, Mitch was like, he's okay, but he would have rather had Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
he would have asked him.
John Fox didn't want Mitch.
No, he didn't. He didn't even want Mitch, but for some reason he's like, I think he would fit. It didn't work. So, I do also believe that there is a chance that this could be like where you go matters thing. Like, look, Ohio State does not have a good reputation when it comes to quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, the late great Dwayne Haskins, may he rest easy. Unfortunately, outside of his attitude issue, he was just not very proficient at quarterback. Ohio State quarterbacks have not been very good.
They make it easier on Ohio State quarterbacks there because they always have so much talent surrounding
Exactly,
them.
Yes. And that's been my thing with like Bama quarterbacks and Ohio State quarterbacks. It's just all that talent really takes away from what I think helps them grow in the game. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Taking shots at Mac Jones and indirectly.
Michigan has pumped out how many really good quarterbacks in their time? A lot of them.
Only one.
One of the greatest.
Only one that matters.
Yeah, I was going to say. Sorry, by the way, for your divorce, Tom. I'm sure you'll land on your feet. And I'm sure Giselle will land on her feet just fine. You'll find other hot people to get in a relationship with. So,
wild.
Yeah, right. All right, well, we'll see what happens, obviously, with the Bears because they have an upcoming game. They got the Minnesota Vikings.
Wow.
I got to ask you, Drew. I got to ask you. I mean, Minnesota's favored by 7.
More than 7.
The over-under's at 44. Who you taking in this one? How do you see this one going?
They could put 6 guys on Justin Jefferson from this defense, and I don't think they're going to cover him. Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's going off. I think Justin Jefferson's going to have himself a day.
Yeah.
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 I am taking the Vikings. I'm going to take the Vikings by 10,
Okay. All right.
and that's probably being conservative.
Okay.
I'm going to take the under because
All right.
Bears can't score points.
They have not
The
even.
Bears can't score points.
I don't
So,
think they've scored more than 23 in a game so far.
the
Right?
Vikings may score 30,
Oh yeah. They may score 40. For all we
but
know.
that gives the Bears like maybe
10?
9,
Okay.
three field goals.
Yeah.
No, see, if you give them 10, then they actually have to score a touchdown.
Ah, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole scenario where like they could have a couple of safeties, maybe kick 2 field goals and 2 safeties might happen.
Again, you
But I'm playing the
have to get a pass rush, actually.
This is true. This
Yeah.
is very true.
Oh,
Yes.
which they didn't do as
Which-
well
yes.
against a team that has a poor offensive line and can't protect Daniel Jones.
And their
But
top
how
pick
many-
at right tackle was
Yeah.
out too. So I don't know how Robert Quinn didn't have a mismatch on that one.
Um,
Blows my mind.
should have traded Robert Quinn last year or in the offseason when he was at his highest point.
We tried to tell you here, folks. We tried
Now
to tell
he
you.
looks like dog crap.
Yep. Well, it's
And they'll get dog crap compensation for him.
yes. Now they definitely will. Now they'll be lucky if they can get a 3rd rounder out of him.
Onward.
I'm taking Minnesota in this too. I'm giving them 13. They're gonna Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. They're gonna have themselves a day. I don't trust this corners. This corner's got a long way to go still. Good for you, Eddie Jackson. You got an interception. I'm sure he'll be good for at least one, but Kirk Cousins will have himself a nice little day. I'll take the under on this just because I don't think the Bears will score a point. And I don't even know if I think they may kick a field goal, maybe 2, but 6 points is all I can really give them at this point. So I think they'll just hit the under, but that's because the Vikings will score at least 30 points. So that's going to do it for the Bears talk here, folks. So we don't want to be upset anymore. So we're going to move into the rest of the NFL, if we may, because there were some
real football teams.
There was some real football teams that played. Some real good football that was played as well, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the week 4.
Some real bad football.
Yeah, there's some real bad football as well, but there were some games out there. So these are the games of the week. So Drew, obviously these are the top 10 games I had for the week. Any of these games that really kind of stood out to you? Any of them that I didn't mention that are not on this list that stood out to you as well? What do you think?
Minnesota New Orleans was awesome in London.
That was a good
It was
one.
an early game that was really, really good.
Andy Dalton,
And it
man.
was so close.
Yeah,
With all the injuries to New Orleans for them to be in that game.
yeah. They're a good team.
And it
if
was
they can get it.
entertaining. Seattle, Detroit, dude. How many points?
I love that.
That was awesome.
I loved that.
Again, I said it before. I'll say it again. Detroit will be better than the Bears this year.
Yeah.
And I'll say it now. Detroit is better than the Bears. They may not have a good defense at all, but this team is putting up, we're at 35 points a game. Their defense is giving up like 35.2 or 35.3 points a game.
barely. And
So they're like, it's slightly not in their favor.
Yeah.
But, man, they can score. Without Amon-Ra St. Brown, without DeAndre Swift.
without Jameson Williams, their 1st-round pick receiver. Think when he comes back.
No DJ Chark.
No DJ Shark. They Jared Goff, folks. I don't know what to say for this man other than he is playing really solid quarterback football.
He's having
He's
a
gonna
great
find
year.
another job. This is enough to find another job. That was incredible.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Buffalo coming back.
I was
Like
gonna say
that
Buffalo,
was
man.
insane.
I don't know what to say for Baltimore after that one, honestly. Like, I think the Ravens are good, but I think they're missing. Like, Lamar is just missing that much of that clutch edge that you need.
Mark Andrews is great. Rashad Bateman's a really good player.
guy. Yeah, he's a good.
They need a little more talent on that wide receiver spot.
They need a 6'4", 220-pound receiver on the other side. Lamar just can throw the ball up to, and like a basketball player, just let that guy go rebound.
Hey, their running backs are healthier and getting more healthy, so they're gonna have a pretty potent run game continuing on there. So.
Absolutely. Was there any more? Because I got a few that certainly stood out to me. The Jets beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, Mitch got replaced. I know Kenny didn't have a great game. He threw some really bad interceptions, but listen, growing pains, first game in. Well, one, yes.
One was his
really,
fault.
Yeah, one really was his fault.
One was a launch at the end. The other one was, I think, a tip ball from the receiver. So I don't so much put that on.
It's his first game.
Yeah, and he got thrown in at halftime.
Yes.
And he still put up some decent numbers for only playing a half.
Him and George Pickens are going to be a new connection, folks. I'm telling you.
So.
If he would have had like 3 games to prepare for this, perhaps we see Kenny Pickett maybe winning this game for the Steelers, and they're not 0-7 without TJ Watt. God, that Kansas City Tampa Bay game was fun. That was fun. Patrick Mahomes is real deal, number 1 quarterback right now in the NFL. He just does amazing things at this point. God, Denver. I don't. If we were doing hot seat right now, I'd have to put Nathaniel Hackett on a five-heater hot seat. I just don't trust him I think he's getting fired at the end of the year. They look bad. Denver looks terrible at this point.
Russ having a little bit better of a game.
He looks like Russell Wilson. Every time he's played, he's looked like Russell Wilson. It's him deferring to, I think, Nathaniel Hackett that's killing him. He can't call a game. And he's hired somebody to help him call a game. That's the crazy thing.
Yep, the coaching has struggled so far.
Yes, yeah. I don't know if Nathaniel Hackett will make. I think he'll get the Freddie Kitchens treatment 1 year and out because it's not looking good right now. Russ is keeping them alive in these games. And then the Rams pretty much just absolutely.
Oh,
I don't even. Are they even going to make the Super Bowl this year? I don't feel like they even are.
No,
at this point.
Their receivers are Cooper Kupp.
Yes.
They have two targets. Allen Robinson is non-existent out there.
Which is weird.
They have Tyler Higbee at tight end.
Yep.
And they have Cooper Kupp.
Yes. And occasionally Skoranek, that big old receiver they got, will show up, but he's
he's
still a non-factor. Nevertheless, they need Van Jefferson back.
They need Odell Beckham back, they need to be in good position for him to want to actually sign back with them.
Yeah, he actually visited the Giants, believe it or not, folks. So.
There's no way that's happening.
Well, David Gettleman's not there anymore, and he did not like David Gettleman. So I'd be intrigued to see if maybe he would want to go back. They are 3-1. Just saying. And the last one,
they're pretenders.
Yes, I think they are pretenders. If we do pretend, we're gonna definitely do that game again. You're gonna see a lot of pretenders, I think there. One of them, though, I think is not going to be a pretender. Philly and Jacksonville. I don't care what you say. I think Jacksonville, even in this game, showed legitimacy. Philly is dominant. That defense is for real. Jalen Hurts can make plays. But Jacksonville, I think, still stood their ground, and I think they've proven themselves to be the best team in that division in the AFC South. I think they're going to be a playoff team. I absolutely do.
They are trending that way.
They look good. They absolutely look good. All right, well, folks, it's time to do it. It's the Pick Six. We're going to do this really rapidly, real quick, too. Our guy King B-Mac had some stuff to say. I'll just shout this out real quick. He said, if Justin Jefferson has less than 150 yards receiving and a touchdown in this game, Kirk Cousins may get jumped in the locker room by the rest of the team. JJ should feast on this Bears defense. I totally agree with you, B-Mac. Appreciate the comment. All right. You ready to do this, Drew?
Let's do it.
So we've got the Chargers against the Cleveland Browns. Chargers are favored by 3. The over-under's at 47.5. Who you got?
I'm taking the Chargers. I'm gonna say 6.
Okay.
I don't think Cleveland's gonna stay with them too well. I'm gonna go over on this. I think they can put up some points still.
Okay. I'm gonna say Chargers by a full touchdown. I'm gonna say this hits just under, and that's just because I don't know if Cleveland's gonna be able to hang with this defense. I know Bosa's out, but still J.C. Jackson. And they still have Derwin James, so it's Jacoby Brissett still quarterbacking. So I'll stay with that. Next, we've got the Detroit Lions at the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots are still favored in this game, surprisingly, by 3 points. 45.5 is the over-under. Drew, who are you taking on this one?
I'm going to go with Detroit here.
Okay.
Looking like Zappy might still start.
Yeah.
And while he maybe had a little adrenaline going that helped him in last week's game, I know he'll have more time to prepare, but they'll have time to prepare for him, though.
Absolutely.
Too. So I think I think Detroit can put up enough points where they can beat New England. I'm going to say Detroit by 3, and I'm going to take the over on this as well.
I'm going to take Detroit on this by 4.5, and I'm going to say this hits the over. And I got a feeling that Bailey Zappi will have a Mike White type of game. I just got this gut feeling inside of me that says that kid's going to have one heck of a game. All I'm saying, I expect a shootout kind of game. And this could be like a Seattle-Detroit, another game like that. I think it should be a fun one. All right. Next, we've got Miami Dolphins. They're taking on the 2-2, who would have thunk it, New York Jets. Miami's only favored by 3. Now, also, we're going to talk about it tomorrow, but Tua is out with a concussion. Did not clear protocols. Again, we'll talk about that tomorrow, but the 44 on the dot is the over-under. Who are you taking with this one, man?
Screw it. Taking the Jets.
Really?
Taking them.
Wow. Okay.
I think it is still going to be a very close game. So I'm going to take the Jets by a point.
Oof.
So like tight.
Yeah.
But Teddy Bridgewater, I mean, he's okay. He's a serviceable quarterback. Guess what? While he has 2 amazing wide receivers, when he played in Denver, he had 2 really good wide receivers there too.
He did.
Guess what? They did not get the ball very often.
No.
Okay. I think those struggles, while the receivers in Miami do different things than the receivers in Denver, you still have to be able to get them the ball.
Absolutely.
Again, team has a full week to prepare for you. The Jets aren't terrible.
No.
They're not terrible.
No, they're not.
Okay. So I'm going to take the Jets by a point, and I'm going to go under here.
It's interesting because that's exactly what I was going to say. I'm taking a point on the Jets, and I'm taking the under on that as well. Because they have, I believe, the defensive player of the year at this point, Ahmad Gardner. Everybody's talking about how, we haven't really seen a lot of him. You know why? Because he hasn't been thrown at. Nobody's throwing at this guy because he's 6'3", 195 pounds, and he sticks like glue to your number 1 wide receiver. Tyreek Hill is another monster, but he also is going to probably cover Jalen Waddle at the same time as well. He'll split time. This guy's a beast. I'm sure he's going to get a pick. Teddy Bridgewater is usually good for that stuff.
Yeah.
But I agree. I point for the Jets, and I'm going to take the under on this as well. Jets moved to 3-2.
Crazy.
This has been a weird year for the NFL, folks. And it's going to get weirder because we got Philly against Arizona. We got Philly favored by 5, 49 on the dot. Who are you taking on this one, Drew?
Philly by 6, and I'm going to take the over. Arizona still has enough firepower to put up points. It's just not going to be a ton, but Philly can put up a lot of points on Arizona defense.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm also taking Philly. I'm taking Philly by 10 on this one. Just don't have a lot of confidence in where Arizona's at. There's a lot of firepower on that defense for
Philly.
Philly.
I'm taking Philly by 11.
Okay, fine. Yeah, we'll keep upping each other then. Fine. Philly by 20. How about that?
I'll go 12.
Okay, 12. No, I'll take them by 10 on this one, and I'll say I think it definitely hits the over. Arizona can hang with them, but not on the same level. Next, I can't wait for this one. Cincinnati is taking on Baltimore. They're both 2-2. Baltimore's got the favor, though, at 3. The over-under's at 48.5. Drew, who are you taking with this one?
Could be game of the week.
I got a good feeling.
I think this is going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. I'm going to go Cincinnati here just because of the fact that Baltimore's secondary has been atrocious. And they've been giving up a ton of points and passing yards to the receivers.
Was it back-to-back weeks they've given up giant leads now?
Yes. I don't think they're going to do that again. I think they're a good enough team to not let that happen a third game.
Yes.
But
I would hope.
With Cincinnati's passing attack, those receivers should feast.
Yeah.
And the offensive line for Cincinnati seemed like they got a little something going last week.
If you look at their numbers, they have gone trending down in sacks to, I think, last week. They only let him get sacked once.
Brand new unit.
Yeah.
Basically the whole thing.
Yeah.
So taking a couple games for them to get used to each other, build some chemistry, and mesh together. But I'm going to take Cincinnati by 3, and I'm going over.
I'm taking Cincinnati as well. No duh. I'm taking Cincinnati by 6 on this one. I got them going on the over as well. Like I said, it's amazing to say this offensive line has gotten that much better by game 4. It usually takes a lot longer. Just ask the Bears. But
just look at reference. Look at all those times that the Patriots with Tom Brady would start out with an offensive line, and every primetime game they would talk about how the offensive line was shuffling.
Yes,
because they moved guys around and figured out what works. And guess what? By the end of the season, they won the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. All right, and the last game we've got, it's Las Vegas, Kansas City. Kansas City favored by a full touchdown, but the over-under still at 51. Drew, how you see this one going, man?
Unfortunately, the Raiders fall to 1-4, looking very awful. Kansas City just looks like they're on another level right now. They're insane, playing amazing football. Both sides of the ball doing fairly well. I think Vegas will still put up some points, but so for that reason, I'm taking the over, but I'm going to take Kansas City by 10.
Okay. I'm taking Kansas City by 10 as well. I'm going to say this one just hits the under because I don't know where the Raiders are at offensively. But Kansas City right now, top team in the NFL. Let's just stick it on that, folks. And that's going to do it for the show. That's going to do it for us here. As always, we want to thank you all so much for all the work. Drew, as always, great to have you here, man. It's always a pleasure. Let the people know where they can find you, listen to you, all that good stuff, amigo.
Good to be here talking football.
Absolutely,
it's good stuff.
Man.
You're watching us
week.
talk football.
Absolutely.
We're talking football. But check me out right here on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and Instagram at d.gwill25 and Drew Gwillem on Facebook.
Absolutely. Guys, you can check me out as well. I'm at TheFluffyGuru on Twitter. I'm also at Boom Crew Captain on Instagram as well. You guys can also find us as well on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Team XBomb Sports. Also find us on the YouTube side, XBomb Sports as well. You guys can also find us on our Instagram and Twitter at XBomb Sports. And if you have any questions or comments, hit us up at xbsportsofficial@gmail.com. We want to hear from you guys as well. Also, too, make sure to follow all the podcast stuff, Blow the Whistle, Monday Motivation with Hannity, Baseball Banter with Brandon, Fake Football Guys, the Parlay, all that good stuff. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Drew will be hosting. We'll be talking more football and some more sports as well right here on the show. And as always, much love. Peace out, Boom Crew.